So what about you? Are you really putting in the time to take your business to the next level? With all the opportunities that exist today, why haven't you reached your next level of income, life, and wealth? In most cases, we've been lied to. We've been told that if you find the right opportunity and you work hard, you can be successful. And that's simply not true. Millionaires, billionaires, and successful people have realized you need the foundation for wealth, the habits. And that's exactly what you'll be learning on the Millionaire Success Habits podcast. All success starts here. What's up? What's up? All right, today I have a message, and I think this is going to resonate with every single person listening or watching this. My dad reminded me of a story. The things that you forget are so impactful because it sets a precedent of success or failure. So when I was young, I'm talking 10 years old, we didn't have any money. I lived with my dad. Maybe I was probably 11 or 12. Lived with my dad. We didn't have any money, but all my friends were racing BMX. That's when BMX was huge. Maybe it's still big, but that's when it first came out. It was exciting. And my friends were getting really nice bikes, and I couldn't afford any of those. In fact, I fell in love with a bike called a Hutch. There was Diamondback and Hutch. They were the two best brands back then. Like, people would buy a Mongoose. It was like a lead balloon. I mean, you couldn't even pick up a Mongoose at the time. But this Hutch bike was all alloy or whatever kind of metal it was that was so light, and it was amazing. So not only did people get a Hutch, so I'm going and I'm watching the BMX, the bicycle motocross. I'm watching the races, and man, these kids are flying. And I had a big old heavy bike, and I wanted a Hutch. I wanted a bike that you could lift up with one finger, but man, I wasn't even close to the money. Plus I'm going to school, plus I have homework, plus my dad made me do all the chores I had to do, right? So then I figured out, how do I get the money to buy a Hutch? Now, of course, my dad, my grandmother, I lived with my dad and some of my grandmother, they supported me, but they didn't have the money. So I asked my grandmother if I could clean out the garage and clean out the basement. Anything I found that she didn't want, could I sell it at a garage sale? Now, this is summer vacation, right? So get into summer vacation, and I find all kinds of stuff that she's like, oh, I'm not having used that for years. I don't want that. I'd throw that out anyway. And then I asked my grandmother if I could do that in her friends' garages and basements. So I went to her friend Evelyn, and oh my God, I found so much great stuff. So I went to 3 different places. I accumulated all this stuff, and I did a garage sale every weekend on the front yard of my grandmother's house. I'd walk like a half a mile to the main highway for a little town. I'd pound in a sign, yard sale, and I sat there and I learned how to sell, because people would come and there'd be $5 on something. I give you 2. I'm like, oh, I don't want 2. 5's better, but how about 4? How about 3? $3.50. So I'm negotiating week after week. So I do this about 4 weeks, and I make like $250, maybe $300. My dad reminded me of this story, but I remember it was a lot. It seemed like a gazillion dollars. But guess what? A Hutch bike at the time, just the frame was like $400. Then you had to buy the alloy wheels, and I wanted the skinny ones. If you know anything about it, it was just, I wanted the skinny wheels. Then I wanted Shimano pedals. And I wanted the better ball bearings, and I wanted this cool little Uno seat. I think it was called the Uni seat or Uno seat or whatever. It's a cool little plastic seat. I mean, this thing was going to be so light. And $250 or $300 wasn't enough. And I'm like, wow. So now I'm heading back to school. My dad at the time owns a collision shop, but he also used to he'd go to auctions where if you got in a car accident and your car was wrecked and it was totaled or just stolen recovery, it would go to these auctions that my dad would go to, and he'd buy a car that was wrecked but not too wrecked, and he'd fix it up and he'd sell it. So I said to my dad, hey, can I buy a car? Can I buy a car for $250 and then I'll fix it on my time and I'll pay you for it? Literally, I said, I'll fix it on my time. And my dad's like, yeah, you'll pay. If you do that, you got to pay for all the expenses, all the parts yourself. So I'm like, cool. So now I'm back in school. I give my dad the $250, $300, and he goes and buys a Mercury Capri. Now, I'd love to say the year, but it wasn't even the 80s. It was probably like a late 70s car. Now, it's probably an 80s car. I don't know, late 70s, 80s. And it was a Capri. And I had already been working with my dad since I was a little kid, working on cars. So I knew cars, and he didn't help me much at all. He even said that. He goes, I let you struggle. And God, I learned that parenting style from my dad. I hope I'm doing a good enough job with my kids, because my dad didn't have the money. He didn't have the time. He had to hustle. So he's like, you want to wreck? I'll buy it for you, but you're paying all the fees and you got to work on it. So every day I could after school, now I'm still going to school, still doing my homework, still doing my chores, right? I still have my regular gig, but every day after school that I could, I'd go work on this Capri. And I remember it was the first time I wrecked my knuckles so bad trying to get a bolt off that I couldn't, and it slipped and it scraped on the other ones. I'd go to school, my hands greasy and knuckles beat up. But I worked on that car. It probably could have been done in a week, and it probably took me 3 months. And when I got to the painting part, I remember I paid the guy that worked for my dad to come in on a weekend and paint it because I didn't know how to paint back then. Long story short, I get the car done, I sell it, and I profited $900. So I took $250, rolled it over into a wrecked car, redid the car, and I made $900. And I went and bought my Hutch bike. I bought the pedals, I bought the ball bearings, I bought these cool little alloy wheels that were really thin, I bought the thin little tires, I bought the uni seat, I bought these cool handlebars, I even bought some gear to work out in, and I got my bike. Now, was I ever good at racing BMX? Hell no, I sucked. I was little. I'd go week after week and get my ass kicked. I think I got 2 trophies in probably a whole 2 seasons, but I loved it and I wanted to go every single week. And I loved this bike so much because I earned every ounce of that bike, every inch of that bike. I fought for it, I paid for it. But how does that relate to you? Because in life, we think there's these magical ways, these quick ways, these shortcuts to wealth. We think there's these shortcuts to get the things that we want. Our new hutch, it might be your house, might be the car, might be freedom. But we want the shortcuts. Listen, at a young age, I was going to school. That was my day job. I still had to do it. I did homework. I did my chores, all my responsibilities I still had to do, while simultaneously, every moment I could, I squeezed into garage sale and then working on this car. So what about you? Are you really putting in the time to take your business to the next level, find your wealth? Listen, and if you love this message, the only way at this phase of my life I can impact people is for you to share it, for you to go to subscribetodean.com. It's to tell other people about this podcast. It's to like it, rate it. Go watch me on social media. Watch me on Instagram or Facebook. Listen, at this phase, like I said, of my life, it's about making an impact, giving people the tools to see that there's no magic money machine. You still got to do the yard sale while you do your homework. You still got to fix the car. This is metaphorically, while you're doing your chores and going to school. But the end result is I got what I wanted with a little bit of extra hustle. But that momentum carried my whole life. When I was in the collision business, I worked on my real estate business. But I had to go work on cars every day and finally got real estate making money. And then I'm in the real estate business. I wanted to teach others, so I was still working on real estate every day. But I'd work at night creating courses and programs. And then when I was doing, I wanted to go to live events. I still worked on courses and programs while I worked on my live event business. I still had to hustle. I still had to find enthusiasm. I still had to be excited. I still had to get things done. And I still had to pay the bills. Going to school, doing homework, doing chores is the same as working in a collision shop while I'm working on my dream of real estate. Working on my dream of impacting other people while I'm still working on real estate. So I hope that message impacted you today. Just get your hustle on. Squeeze in the extra time, because guess what? It's all worth it. Yeah, it's all worth it. I wouldn't change a thing. If you said to me right now, Dean, and money's not an issue, give you $100 million a year, but you have to go work for somebody, and they're going to tell you when to show up, when to have vacation, when you have to leave, when you have to do that, I would not take $100 million a year. I'd be broke if I needed to be on my own starting over than taking that. It's my message for today. Remember, all success starts right here. Listen, if you liked the video, make sure you click subscribe right now so you never miss an episode. And while you're there, click the notification bell so you'll know when the next one goes live. You can always follow us on Instagram, and if you don't already have Millionaire Success Habits, you can grab it for free at deansfreebook.com. Remember, all success starts here.